Erica in California, you're on the air. Welcome, Erica.
Hi, Alex. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Sure. Well, I was just calling in response to your request at the beginning of the show about what the 4th of July means to you.
Hoorah.
Because I think it's... Exactly. And, my parents emigrated here from a small country called Latvia, so I'm first generation in the United States, and they waited 5 years in displaced persons camps, to come here legally. My mom's family couldn't even come to the States because they weren't able to get a sponsor.
Wow.
So I grew up, she ended up meeting my dad, and, she's here now. But, I grew up with my grandparents telling me all the stories about, what they went through to literally escape Stalin's regime. I had family members who were on the dreaded list and got the knock on the door, and, I had family members who were hiding out in the woods for weeks just to not have to be taken away. So, I grew up with a real appreciation for what my family had gone through to come to this amazing country. And, to be where we are now, arguably one generation later, it's unbelievable to me. I'm the mom of a 5-year-old little girl, and, to see where we are now and to realize, wow, my parents were able to escape that to come here, and here we are, and, where would we go?
Well, the saying is, those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Humans behave the same, whether it was 5,000 years ago, 100 years ago, or today. There's just a high-tech overlay, and the propaganda is a lot more flowery and fancy. But we know this means bondage. And being a slave is a horrible thing. And living under an oppressive system where all these little nobodies get to rule over you and have their way with your women and your men, and to see your men and your children drug away. In the history books, the CPS will be known as the Stalin's NKVD of America. To talk to Eastern Europeans and the hell they went through, and to talk to Germans and people who suffered at the hands of Hitler, we know what black uniforms and black mask and secret arrest and knocks on the door and political police mean 100% of the time. And this is an even more sophisticated evil, and this is a life and death situation. And that's why I really like people who've come from true tyrannies, because they value freedom. If you go back to our forefathers, they had an experience with tyranny, and that's why they were serious and focused. It was the French philosopher Victor Hugo who said that that hard times and tragedy makes men, and plenty and decadence makes monsters, to paraphrase him. He said it much more simply. I'm paraphrasing it, but absolutely, we've turned into decadent slobs, and we don't understand what is upon us right now. Anything else?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I actually was a history major at Harvard, so but I was one of the good guys. And, it's in the books, and I think very recently I've just gotten even more chilled, like sleepless nights, just thinking about what's going on, because it has happened. It's happened to good people, and the fact that people around me don't even see it. I'm doing the best I can to people, and sharing your movies. I think the Don't Tread on Me movie that you have on your website, through your website, is amazing in terms of educating people about
Erica, stay there. I want you to be able to finish up your point and talk about some of what your folks went through in Eastern Europe under Stalin and others. We were talking to Erica in California. I wanted to have her finish up the story she was telling about her parents immigrating with her from Eastern Europe. And now she had family that was scooped up and never seen again by Stalin's NKVD, and then others after Stalin, Khrushchev and others. And then we're going to go to other phone calls and get into some more news. But finish up your point, Erica.
Well, I think the main point really is just, the people that have, my family sacrificed tremendous things to be able to be here in this country. We're talking literally escaping their homes with just the clothes on their backs and their kids in their arms. And, the sacrifices they made to come here, the time it took, and then to, I grew up with such an appreciation for what our country stood for, and what, this amazing holiday is coming up here. And it's just sad to me to see how people don't appreciate it. I think, people have been in, taken history class, and they've learned sort of the basics, but, I've learned firsthand from my family members really what went through their minds and what they endured. My dad to this day, has nightmares and night terrors because, he remembers bombs dropping around him, and having to escape. And my mom was born in a bomb shelter. I mean, and there's tons of stories of people just like my family who have sacrificed to come here. And I think, every 4th of July, I mean, I believe people should retake the exam it takes to become a United States citizen. When I was a little girl, I watched my mom take that exam because she wanted to become a United States citizen, and she was learning all about our history and the Bill of Rights and what it means to be an American. And I believe everybody should revisit that as we get older.
Absolutely, Erica. Erica, God bless you, and I'm glad you're a listener. Keep spreading the word, and we will defend this republic. And that's what's so insulting about it, is that Mexico lost several wars with the United States. Mexico believes the Southwest belongs to it. Mexico is a joke, failed state, completely collapsed. And our government, that's treacherous and treasonous because it's bought off, there's been a corporate takeover, and the Mexican government teach in the schools in the U.S. and in Mexico that America's bad and Mexico is good, and the media teaches Hispanics that come here to keep their culture from whatever country they came from and to hate this country. Why would the government do that? Because the government is illegitimate. And I'm going to say it again. Globalism is treason. Globalism is a corporate takeover. We don't have to worry about Russian spies, folks. We don't have to worry about Muslim terrorists. I mean, some of that exists. But comparatively, when you compare that to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, these mega, massive global institutions that are openly selling trillions of derivatives to county and city and state governments, knowing it would implode so they can then bankrupt them and take them over, knowing they've brought down whole nations. I mean, we have the IMF World Bank documents from 2002 where this was all admitted. I've been warning you about the derivative takeover since then, intensely telling you exactly what would happen.